Okay, here's my out of the theater reaction. First initial reaction review of Deadpool and Wolverine. Slightly disappointed. It's still fun. Why am I disappointed? Well, the cameos I think delivered great. I really, and this is a spoiler. This is a spoiler reaction review. I don't care. I'm talking about the spoilers here, so you've been warned. So all of the cameos really deliver. Mainly this Deadpool is taken by the TVA out of his timeline, and they're saying they're going to purge his timeline, and he goes to find a Wolverine to help save his timeline, and promises that Wolverine that they'll fix his too. It's just something about the Wolverine and Deadpool together I was expecting different. I don't know. This Wolverine is very aggressive and swears a lot, but something about the charm of Wolverine's lost when it's just another a-hole. I like Wolverine when he's dealing with goody two-shoes like Scott Summers, and dealing with that, and dealing with the rest of the X-Men. So I don't know what I was expecting. That might be my fault. And then the cameos, I gotta say, I really am kind of disappointed that, because the best cameo by far for me personally was Wesley Snipes as Blade, and it kind of makes me think like Mahershala Ali, who Wesley can still do it. Wesley Snipes can still be Blade, and I kind of prefer that at this point. A lot of time was spent in the TVA and in the Void, and the Void was kind of just boring. The action was great. The humor, maybe it's just because I saw so much in the trailers, and it didn't hit as good for me as the first two. So it's not all bad. It's just not as good as what I was thinking or hoping it would be. It sets up at the end that this Deadpool and this Wolverine save the universes and all the multiverse, and they can be in. It sets it up where they can be in the Avengers movie. Also, man, was the bonus scene a disappointment as well. It's just another joke. It was just a joke. Oh, I like MCU end credit scenes where they, allude to something else, not just a joke. The Johnny Storm cameo was also really cool. I like that too, until they got to the end credit scene. The villain was the weak point. I really disliked what's her name, Nova, Charles Xavier's sister. The other villain from the TVA, he was okay. But I'm gonna definitely see it again next week. But my predictions about this being a $3 billion, it's just no way. No way. Not with this amount of, like, the swearing and violence. The swearing and violence is increased, where the jokes, I think there's less jokes, and you've seen most of the humor in the trailers. And I think the stuff was funnier in the first two movies. I missed some of the side characters that you see at the beginning and the end that are in the Deadpool movies, that only have cameos in this one, so you can have a Wolverine and Deadpool adventure. So I just think that's why the second one is probably still my favorite, because you still get the team he puts together in his world working together. And then there's this new team, which is fun. The weakest cameo, maybe Elektra or Gambit. X-23 was awesome. She was not in costume the whole time. Like, I don't know. I don't understand that. It was still fun. the weakest one definitely was Gambit or Elektra. The Gambit was just weird. I'm kind of glad we never got that movie. And I really wanted this. I would have preferred they brought back John Carter's Gambit. What's that actor's name? I forget his name because he's not in a lot of movies anymore. So I will say my first initial viewing, slight letdown, not because of lack of cameos, not because where it ends up, just because the humor didn't hit for me, and then it's just increase on the violence and the swearing, and that's supposed to be funny, and I don't think that's funny every time. They relied a lot on that of just Wolverine just F-bombs all over the place. And not my favorite performance of Wolverine. I actually prefer Wolverine in every other X-Men movie over this. I still liked seeing Hugh Jackman back. I liked it, and I don't like the mask. I don't like him. They had one scene where he had the mask on, and that was my least favorite Wolverine scene. I like him without the mask. I know he's in the comic book accurate. He has the mask on, but in live action, he works so much better without the mask. Oh yeah, the other letdown cameo was Sabretooth, because man, that would have been so much cooler to have a whole full action sequence. Unfortunately, I'm going to wrap it up here because I don't want this to be a long reaction review, but I have mixed feelings. It's still really good. I'd say 7 out of 10. There's a lot there, and I don't think this is rewatchable as the first two. I think it is rewatchable, but it doesn't have, it's just missing something that the first two had for me. And I'm honestly not sure about Sean Levy as a director, because the other movie that people raved about was The Adam Project, and I watched that and I enjoyed it, but it also wasn't very funny for me either. I just don't think he's that, based on these two projects. I haven't seen any of his other movies. I don't know if I want him to do an Avengers movie. I'm not against it, but I'm definitely not for it. And I have to see, I forget who directed the director that did the first one went on to direct Terminator Dark Fate, and I don't know who directed the second one, but it seemed a little off to me. It wasn't as punchy and poppy as it could have been in certain situations. Oh, and Dogpool was fun, and that's about it. Dogpool ain't going after Grogu, because they really just used the same joke. Dogpool was a one-note joke, is that Wade loves Dogpool and lets Dogpool lick his face, and Dogpool loves Deadpool, and that's all there is to Dogpool. That's it. So that was also a slight letdown. That's my thoughts. Tell me yours in the comments section. I will see you later. I'm going home. Can't wait to talk about this movie. Can't wait to see what people are saying online. But yeah, 7 out of 10 is the best I could give it on the first viewing. Hopefully the second viewing it'll hit harder for me, and the jokes will be funnier. And people weren't laughing at the jokes, and there was people there, and I think it's just because we saw most of the good jokes in the trailers. I'll see you later. Have a good one.